healing doesn't start with an apology script or a list of demands. It begins with something much harder: real honesty. We are now in part 8 of my series on what seems to be becoming an estrangement epidemic. When we are in pain, our brains do something to protect us. They create a story. We replay events over and over until we've smoothed out our own edges and sharpened the other person's edges. We rewrite the history of our family until we are the hero or the victim, and they are the villain, the one who done wrong. But you cannot build a bridge on a rewritten story. Healing requires the courage to look at the messy, unpolished truth on both sides, to admit where we were wrong, where we were overwhelmed, and where we simply just didn't have the tools to do better. Grace for the parent means acknowledging that they were a human being trying to figure this thing called life out while potentially dealing with their own unhealed trauma or undiagnosed neurodivergence. It's realizing they were likely raised in a culture that told them to bury their emotions and just push through. It's seeing that they were trying to do better for their children than what was done for them, even if they didn't always have the tools or the knowledge to get it right. But grace has to be a two-way street. Grace for the adult child means recognizing that they're dealing with more cultural noise than previous generations. It means accepting their hurt feelings feel real to them, even if there was no intent to cause it. And it means giving them room to be messy while they figure out identity and boundaries. Often, in an intense desire to break generational cycles, an adult child can unintentionally swing to the other extreme, perpetuating a new cycle of distance or silence that feels just as rigid as the one they are trying to escape. Grace allows the parent to see that they are also just trying to figure out this thing called life, too. A huge part of this grace comes from understanding that neurodivergence may be at play on either side or both sides. Even though we understand more about neurodivergence now than we ever have, we still have many people who are undiagnosed neurodivergent and do not believe that high-functioning neurodivergence exists. When we realize that hardware issues like ADHD or autism might be causing the bluntness, the inconsistency, or the emotional intensity, the story changes. It's no longer about they don't love me or they're trying to manipulate me. It becomes our brains are speaking different languages and we are still learning how to translate. Sometimes understanding the brain removes the malice that we've attached to the memory. Real healing looks like shared responsibility, not equal blame in every situation, because every story is different, but shared responsibility in the sense that repair takes two people showing up in good faith. It requires listening without immediate defense. It requires letting someone explain their heart without calling it an excuse. It requires seeing effort even when the words and actions aren't perfect, aren't the way that you would like for them to be. If the goal is punishment or control, then there's no path forward. If the goal is mutual understanding, a bridge can start to be rebuilt. Healing is messy. Healing is not perfect. Healing can mean grieving honestly, letting go of the fantasy version of your parent or your adult child, and building a life that isn't defined by the wound, and learning how to keep your heart open without reopening the injury. Because real healing isn't everyone back together at any cost. Real healing is truth, safety, and dignity for everyone involved. Are we willing to put down our perfect stories to make room for the real person? In part 9, we're going to discuss something that surprises a lot of people: why some parents eventually stop reaching out and or refuse their adult child's reaching out after repeated or extended estrangements. It's not from lack of love, but from emotional burnout, fear of more injury, and self-protection. That's all for now. Until next time, blessed be.